My name is Rulan. I am Métis. My mother is from the Bay Area. My grandparents are buried at the foot of the Golden Gate Bridge, so it's good to be back. My dad's people are from Norway as well as Canada, border Alberta and Montana. And I am the director of Dancing Earth. And I guess the last part of this performance is for me to do a little talking. I actually got into dance to avoid having to talk. I find that there's a truth that the body can speak that is actually beyond words, and it helps us get beyond languages and some of the things that divide us. I had a pretty nomadic and unstable young life. So what I craved was discipline and formality. So I fell in love with the idea of becoming a ballerina. Like my mom was more of a backpacker and kind of a tomboy, so she's a bit shocked for me to, she's more about women's libs, stuff like that. So for me to want to be a ballerina, she's like, oh, okay. So I got myself to New York City at age 16, started work as a ballet dancer, and then eventually as a modern dancer. And then very separate world was my powwow dancing, which I kept up in the summers. Not a lot of interest in those worlds overlapping. Sort of like you keep that there and you keep that there. So I did have my first dance company. Actually, it was a powwow dance company. I was about 19 years old. So we went all over in a broken down van, me and a bunch of kids, and started taking powwow dance and putting that on stage, like team dances and things like that, which was not, it was starting to become acceptable, but just on the edge of it. And my form of powwow dance was not fancy at all. What my grandmothers wanted for me was something very pure and very traditional. So for me, even to be inundated into the circle, I had to learn how to make regalia, brain can hides, sew a beautiful buckskin regalia, which I was like, oh, this isn't so bad. I had wanted fancy with the beadwork and all that. But when I finally saw it, it was very regal with like long fringes like waterfalls. And I said, oh, it's gonna look good, I'm gonna like this. And then I was asked to give it away. So I said, oh, okay, well now we're gonna make the second one. And I was asked to give that one away. And just went on and on, so I was like, okay, so I'm never gonna be invited into the powwow circle, but at least I'm learning how to make things. I sort of resigned myself to that fact. And I think it was my fourth or my fifth that finally I was allowed to keep. And I was invoked into the circle, and my grandmother actually passed her name on to me at that time. So a big honor that I got to, by being patient and learning how to give and be a part of the community rather than, oh, I want a powwow dance, me, I want this, I want that. So that was a big learning for me. Not to say that I'm continued to be a patient person, something I always have to keep learning. At a certain point in my life, I felt that all of these forms were kind of on their own, and our native cultures were so rich, so inclusive of everything. And I wanted to also reflect the different diversity of the different nations, the people I knew, the places that I visited. And so I was looking, where was that going to be? I wanted to be the star of that dance company, this sort of native, but I use the word contemporary, meaning a new way of doing things, of telling very old and ancient traditions, but in a new way. And no one was doing it. So I was a woman, it was the 21st century or 20th century, I had to do it myself. That's really how we do it. So it didn't exist, I brought it into the world. So it was right around 2004 that some young dancers came into my life. They were native break dancers and martial artists, they were all men, and that was really, I think, the beginning of what became Dancing Earth. And for the first few years, we mostly performed on reservations. So we were working with our people, for our people, really rooting ourselves in our community to make sure that what we were doing was wanted, respected, and reflective of our community. And then around 2010, we started to get invitations to go to universities, to go to festivals, other kinds of theaters, so just outside of our circle. So we had to think about what is appropriate to share. Before that, just to be able to come in and be strong and healthy, good role models for the youth, that was enough. Just coming with our dance and having good attitudes and being able to mentor. But at that time, we had to go to our elders and say, okay, what are the things should be sharing? And so the idea was how to be in relationship with the world. I guess they call these things ecology. This is it's like permaculture. It's basically the way natives have been working with the land, and then it has a new word, new term.
I've been here for, I think, almost the whole evolution of it all and the different pieces of it. And I think for me, one of the things, and one of the many things that have stuck out was the fact that I think that not only my own individual like story and like voice was like heard and put into all the different, evolutions of this piece, but I've collectively as a company, all of our stories and who we are, but then also ancestrally, like our people's stories. So for me, like I'm still tall, like on my dad's side, and so we're jungle people that live up in the mountains, and so like you can Google us and you might find like a wiki page, but you won't really find a whole lot of information just because we keep to ourselves. So just to be able to share that, with the world and with you guys and, countless of, thousands of other people, just to share a piece of my dance and a piece of my story about water, and my people's struggle with it. I think that for me, that was very impactful just in my own life. And yeah, it really is. It's more than just I'm a classically trained ballet dancer, so for 6.5 years I was a principal dancer, and I've done Nutcracker, I don't know how many times, I hate it. And, but being able to do something like this where it means something and where it actually is impacting something, and it's a real issue that does actually matter. So to be a part of something like that, I think, for me personally, it's huge. And then be able to give that to you guys without words, because my movement goes far beyond my words. Like my words, I can only speak English so much, and then I can speak another language to kind of, describe something to you. But through movement, it's universal, and I can go even deeper with that because it'll touch your emotions, your soul, your mind in a very, psychological level. And so to be able to share myself and my people and my ancestors and what we're going through in our victories, I think, I don't know, it's changed my life. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your intent for water, and hope to see you down the road.